Happy Spiritual Sunday. Oh, yeah, we do. Here's Hong Kong and Hawaii, two opposite ends of the world, and we're in the middle. You ever ask yourself, why do they call the Middle East the Middle East? I mean, the earth is round, yes? So who decided that that's the middle? Why don't we say Boca Raton is the middle of the world? Oh, the British decided. So let's see. The British, I don't know if I should be saying this online, but the British decided at one point they should own this land we call America. And then, whatever, 200 and some odd years ago, we said, no, 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 we're going to be on our own. So why do we still call it the Middle East? Even then, why did they call it, why wasn't the middle of the world England? No, I'm just saying, if you think about it, it's another way that we can understand that this physical world is a complete illusionary construct of humanity. Like, who says what an hour is? Who decided an hour? We decided. Who decides the Middle East? We decide. Who decides if your life is good or bad? Got to get down to the real nitty-gritty, right? Who decides? Who decides? How many times has it happened to us that something initially we thought was bad happened? Only a week later, a month later, a year later, you look back and you say, oh my God, if that bad thing hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had this amazing new thing in my life. Whether it's a new person, a new business, a new something. Ever happened to you? Or sometimes the opposite. You have something that looks good in the beginning. Wow, I just met this amazing person. And then 3 weeks later, you realize all they want is to take from you something. So it looked good in the beginning, later on it turns out bad. So we want to understand, and that's basically everything we're learning here in Kabbalah Center, is how to decide for ourselves that life is good. And not only that, as we're going to get into a little today, not just to decide, because I mean, you can get drunk, you can take drugs, you can be high out there and say, oh, life is great, until it all wears off and then you come back to this physical life that you are in. You and I are learning how to decide life is great, that we are amazing people, and then go out into the world and show. Make it happen. Easy to say. Wishing, hoping, but the Kabbalists are giving us the technology how to achieve what we're supposed to have, an amazing life. And so as we do every Sunday, whether it's here or recorded, we're going to start with our affirmation. So those of you here, now it's on the screen. Those of you online, make sure I got it here for you, that you can see it. I brought the big copy. Okay, let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And we're going to get another dose of why that's so important and powerful. But the other thing that I just realized that I'm not sure we've spoken about in a while, why do we say, I have to raise my consciousness to see the miracles and wonders of life? Because like we just mentioned, sometimes that bad thing happens in the beginning, we don't see the miracle of it until sometime later. Then we look back and say, wow, such a miraculous thing, because where would I have been in some lower level, some worse life than I now have achieved because of those challenges, because of those difficult things, because of the things that came in that didn't look so good. But you and I are learning consciousness is everything. And consciousness doesn't just mean thinking, wishing, and hoping. Consciousness means I know this is the way the universe works, and I'm going to live that universe. I'm going to live that system. How many of you drove a car here today? So how many of you just sat in the car and said, I'm wishing it'll drive me to the center. I'm hoping that it'll drive me to the center. Or did you say, wait, I know how the technology of a car works. I'm going to turn the engine on. I'm going to put it in gear. I'm going to push the gas. I'm going to steer the wheel. Which did you do? You didn't say, consciousness is everything. I'm just going to meditate. I'm in the center. I'm in the center. I'm in the center. Okay, we're not on that level. I will tell you, there are great Kabbalists who could do that. There are Kabbalists who could travel 300, 400, 500 miles like this in a blink of an eye. If you think about it now, I don't know why we're going off in this direction, but let's start this way. How many of you are over, well, let's put it this way. How many of you remember when there was no internet? You two online, some of you must remember, there was no internet. So in simplest terms, there was no internet. How big was the world? The earth was 24,000 miles around. Yes? Now with the internet, for all practical purposes, how big is the world? It's microscopic. Because like this, here we are in Boca Raton, it's 11, whatever, a little after 11 a.m. We have people in Hawaii. That's early, I think it's like 5 in the morning, something like that. But their 5 in the morning and our 11 in the morning is the same, and we're in the same place at the same time. We have people from Hong Kong, oh here, Manila. Same thing. No matter what their time is, they're in the same place. So what happened to time? It also disappeared. What happened to space? It disappeared. We can be here in Boca, and on one hand over there in Hawaii, on the other hand in the Far East. At the same moment, in the same time, hearing and connecting the same thing. So what happened to distance? So when we can raise our consciousness like the great Kabbalists have, then yes, we could be sitting here in Boca. We could literally, with the right consciousness and using what we'll talk about today in its highest level, we could be in a microsecond in Japan, in the Far East, in Hawaii. We could take a trip around the globe in a few minutes. Oh, I can feel it already. Some of you, that mind is going, this guy's a little far out for me. Why not? If you close your eyes, could you be on your last vacation in Hawaii or the Far East? So what's the difference? If you close your eyes, I say, remember the greatest thing that happened to you when you're on that vacation. And all of a sudden you get that warm, fuzzy feeling, that sense of enjoyment and peace and great happiness. What's the difference between that and literally being there? It's just that small little gap in our consciousness that still says, but my body is here in Boca. But when we can raise our consciousness, which actually, thank you. So let's get started with what I want to talk about, and remind me this. Because we're going to understand how the Kabbalists taught us, meanwhile, in our current practical life, but how they ultimately taught us how to do what I just told you the Kabbalists could do. You remember Star Trek? The original Star Trek? Beam me up? The teleportation. Yeah, the teleporter, but they called it the was it transport? Yeah, go to the transporter. They disassembled the atoms, they sent it over somewhere, and then reassembled it. That's what we're going to understand today exactly. Exactly. But I called it God's nanotechnology. Because today, if you understand the idea of nanotechnology, wow, nanotechnology, amazing. Science has learned how to deal with microscopic particles and inject it into various products to improve and enhance those products. Right? So now if you buy something that says infused with nanoparticles. So let's go one up. Theoretically, what could happen with nanotechnology? So you and I can understand, because we're in the 21st century, everything in the physical world, everything, from the chair you're sitting on to the flesh and blood that we are, everything is built from protons, neutrons, and electrons. Everybody gets that? At least basically, yes? So one theory with nanotechnology, they just haven't gotten there yet, is to be able to take, let's say the chair, not that you're sitting on, but one of these empty chairs, put it in a nano machine, take it apart like a Lego set into its protons, neutrons, and electrons, put those in a big box, and then you come along and decide, you know what, I would like to have, I don't know, a new outfit. So you look online, you find the outfit you want, they put that picture in the machine draws from that box of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and assembles your brand new outfit. Because the proton, neutron, electron in the chair are the same one in your clothes. It's just a rearrangement. So think that when we could achieve that, what will happen to all the waste, the pollution, all the environmental negativity? It'd all disappear. There'd be no waste. Everything would be completely efficient because you could take all the garbage, tear it apart into proton, neutron, electron, and then make anything you want. Cars, houses, machinery, anything you want. No, that's a good sign. God's giving us, that's right, right? God's blinking, right? So everyone get the idea now. Thousands of years ago, the Kabbalists gave us nanoparticles. This is Rav Berg and his wife Karen, who basically started the center. 100 years ago, a great Kabbalist, Yehuda Ashlag, actually founded the center to bring this wisdom of Kabbalah to the world. But as of about 50 years ago, it was the Rav Berg and Karen Berg who decided that there had to be centers where like-minded people could come and assemble. We could join each other, we could learn this wisdom, and we could create the pattern for what we want in the world. Peace and harmony. Just look around this room. Are we all the same? Color, religion, background, nationality, etc.? No. But we can all be unified through this technology. That's all Kabbalah is about. And that's why we call it technology of the soul. Because the soul is the only thing in this universe that's identical in every person. Once you go past that, even you say, well, everyone has a heart and liver and lungs and that sort of thing. Yes, but each of us, it operates somewhat differently, right? That's why we have medical people, because sometimes the heart's not functioning the way it ideally should, etc. So there's slight differences. The soul, absolutely the same, because it comes from one source called the light of the Creator. So Kabbalah is that technology. So 50 years ago, the Rav started calling what we call the Aramaic letters, or the Hebrew letters, nanoparticles of the light. Nanoparticles of the light. Why? Because like protons, neutrons, and electrons, that are the basis of everything, our flesh and blood, the clothes we wear, the car you drive, the air you breathe, everything. So too, the DNA of everything in the universe, in its metaphysical level, are those particles we call nanorobots, Aramaic letters. They are particles of the light of the Creator. That's simple. So the Kabbalists have been offering us ways and means to use those nanoparticles. Like we said, conceptually they're already telling us. And remember, the physical, whatever exists in the physical, is patterned on the spiritual. So if there's now in the latest of science a nanotechnology, has to be there was nanotechnology spiritually. So the Aramaic letters, those are nanoparticles of the light of God. So as we learn how to put them together in the right format, they will activate the light in our soul. Because the light in our soul is made up of the nanoparticles, the nano letters, everything in your life, your car, your house, every thought you have, every word you have, created from those nanoparticles called the Aramaic letters that shine the light of the Creator. So this is why we encourage you, at least carry one of these. The Zohar is the most powerful combination of nanoparticles that literally draws the light of the endless world. Period, end of story. You don't have to believe it. I don't ask you to believe it. Nobody in the center will ask you to believe it. But we will ask you, don't just dismiss the idea because it seems a little odd. Because imagine taking your car back 3,000 years. Imagine taking your cell phone back 100 years, 150 years, and trying to explain to people how a little plastic box, you could talk to people all around the world. What would they have said 200 years ago? They would have burned you at the stake as a witch, right? Some kind of crazy person. So don't let that same thought make you believe that a book like this, because it's built of nanorobots that shine the light of God, can't protect you, can't bring change in your life. So what you and I are learning here, some of you know. If you're not, investigate. That's all I ask you. Don't believe, don't disbelieve, but investigate and try it for yourself. Zohar, Ana B'Koach, 72 names. We do our meditation every spiritual Sunday. Our ways and means that we can transform our life. And that's all it's about. How to use these nanorobots to make a better life. Are you interested or you're not? I mean, I can quit now if you're not interested in a better life. Are you sure? They can't hear you in Hong Kong. Okay, good. Okay. I can hear them from Hong Kong. They're all saying they want a better life. Hello? Boca Raton may be nice, but it's not the Garden of Eden yet. Okay? So we still have some more to go. So this is what we want to understand now. remembering that our soul is filled, like we said, that box, right? The box where you take apart everything, conceptually put all the proton, neutron, and electron. So our soul, we learn from Kabbalah 1 forward. The Creator in the endless world created one soul of humanity. That's why it is identical in every person, because there's only one. One soul, filled it with the light of the Creator, this infinite light. Then when we came into this world, we have the illusion that it's split out into 8 billion bodies. But we're still only one soul. And by putting the light of the Creator inside of us, which is love, kindness, and compassion, which is ultimate sharing and illumination, the Creator activated in us, every human being on earth, the desire for eternal bliss. Because that's what the light is. I mean, think in simple terms. If you go home at night and you turn on the light in your living room, as long as you've paid your bill and the light bulb lasts, how long can you be in the light? Forever, right? As long as the electricity is flowing, that light bulb is functioning, you can be in the light forever, because darkness cannot enter into the light. Light can transform darkness. Darkness can't remove the light. The only thing that removes the light, like physically, turn the switch off. Now you've turned off the light, the illusion of darkness shows up. So when we affirm love, kindness, and compassion for all human beings, what we're really saying is keep the light on. You keep the light on, your life is filled with light. Because you're using those nanoparticles of the Creator, the DNA of everything in this universe, including us, you're using it to manifest blessings in your life. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Because like your car, like your electricity, like your phone, like your computer, like most things in our life, we have free will. So the Creator gave us the power to use these nanoparticles of light, the Aramaic letters, any way we want. Unfortunately, for thousands of years, many people to various levels have used it how? For harmony and joy? No, we have created, and this is the hardest thing, or one of the hardest things, to accept, but not accepted leaves people in chaos. One of the hardest things to accept is we have created our life. Unconsciously, perhaps, unaware, mostly, but we have to understand we have created our life. Every word, thought, and action channels those nanoparticles and manifests in the world. The Big Bang, what happened before the Big Bang? There was no physical matter. So those nanoparticles had to come into a physical reality in order to manifest the huge ball of matter, whatever they want to call it, that exploded into, as the Big Bang, into all the planets and the solar systems, and ultimately into us. Took on physical form. So when we say consciousness is everything, every word, thought, of action creates. Sadly, most of us look at the world today. Most people have created chaos, discord, disasters of all kinds. Once we can accept that, then we have the power to change it. Once you don't accept it, then you're stuck. You're stuck. So you and I are learning again from Kabbalah 1 forward. This is why for me, every person who comes to the center has to take, if you want to grow to your ultimate greatest potential, eternal bliss, has to take Kabbalah 1 at least once a year. Because you've got to be reminded of the fundamentals, which is the big picture of why we're here, how we got here, and how we can achieve it. Then you just get more details. How many of you know how to multiply and divide? I'm worried they're not all raising their hands. You know how to multiply and divide. What would happen with that ability if you forgot? If suddenly you forgot the number line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like that. Would you be able to multiply and divide? No, but multiply and divide is a higher level than just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you forget that, then all that higher math cannot be used. So in the same way, when a person forgets Kabbalah 1, which is the fundamental rules of this universe, then they can't raise their consciousness. They can think they can. You could read all the books we've got. But if you don't remember how to apply it, which is Kabbalah 1, it's all lost. It's all lost. You know how to drive a car, but you never get in the car to drive. What good is it? So we're not here in the center to teach intellectual Kabbalah. It's how you're going to live your life. So if we were able to use the nanoparticles, the force of the Creator, to create discord and disharmony and disarray in our life, then we can use them also to put order back in life. And not only that, but order for everybody, not just for me. The beauty of this system is it's always win-win. If I want more blessing in my life, I have to exude the light. I have to extend the light in my soul, which means everybody else is being influenced by the light. And if everyone's being influenced by the light, it's more rapidly they will be able, as you and I learn, to distinguish light and darkness. Imagine a person who grew up, was born in the dark, lived in the dark for 20, 30 years. Would they understand what light is? No. So until they had an experience of light, they would not be able to distinguish light and darkness. So until people are illuminated spiritually to the next level, they are not able to distinguish how they've created their chaos or how they've allowed themselves to exist in that darkness for all that time. And in the darkness, they justify, that person was nasty to me, I just was nasty back. Okay, but you're stuck with the nastiness. Not them. They're stuck with theirs. They're not stuck with yours. You're stuck with yours. They're stuck with theirs. So we're learning how to shine the light, so I'm in the light and they could be in the dark. But if I'm shining light on them, eventually the light will awaken in them. They'll be able to see the difference between light and darkness. They'll be able to see the error of their ways, as we call it. But if they're not illuminated, you don't see the error of your ways. This is the power we have. So our spiritual work is just to hold on, understand this truth, and live it and prove it to ourselves. Because I can tell you stories for the next 3 years of things that happened in the 35 years that I'm in the center. Doesn't mean you're going to believe them. But when you have your own experience, a little easier to believe. So that's what we want to do. So let's go like this. Let me give you some examples. So let's start with, because I wrote it down, you understand, and I'll give you what it's based on in simple terms. If you go, the Kabbalists teach us that the 5 books of Moses is true. Those people existed, those things did happen, but it's also a code, a cosmic code. And the Zohar, the source of all Kabbalistic wisdom, is unlocking the code. Because what they were doing is they were teaching us by their example to understand some of this spiritual technology. So we're not here to do the same as they did. We're here to understand what technology they used to achieve what they achieved. So there is a physical, literal truth, but really the bigger part is what technology do we learn that we can apply today in 2022? Because like we said, they didn't have, you don't read in the Bible, and Abraham drove his car from Israel to Egypt. Or, the wandering in the desert, you don't hear about how, they had tractors to build their houses and things like that. So we cannot just copy, but we can understand the technology. So when it says, if you read carefully, even in the literal, Adam looked at a horse, he was on the level to be able to see the DNA, the nanoparticles that were in that horse that made up the DNA of that horse. Like today, a scientist will do genetic sequencing, so they can say it's A, C, C, T, G, I, use like the 4 letters of DNA and tell you what the combination. So Adam just looked at it, he saw the nanoparticles, they have a sound, and he called it sus. Sus is the Kabbalistic word for horse. He just saw the DNA. And it says whatever Adam named them, that was their name. Why? Because that was their DNA. So then I want to give you this example. Fear. Anybody here have any fear? Any fear at all? Okay. So the Kabbalistic DNA, meaning the power source of fear, goes back to these nanoparticles, is called pachad. It's a certain arrangement, combination of those energy forces. You feel an energy of fear, yes or yes? When you're fearful. You don't say, I don't feel anything, I feel fear. So there's an energy. That energy is made up of these Aramaic letters. So what you and I are learning then, pause. Something triggers your fear, pause. Decide, I don't like that combination of energy, so I'm going to disassemble it into its original, like the proton, neutron, electron, and then I'm going to draw from that box, from the light in my soul that has all the various combinations, and I want to put, let's say, facing my fears. So I might scan from the Zohar, the section for facing fears. Awaken the fearlessness within me. Or as we have in the 72 names, I will make use of the Nun, where is it? Mem Nun Dalid. To awaken in me fearlessness, that I can confront my fears, I can face my fears. So now I'm using the energy of fearlessness to transform fear into trust, certainty, illumination. Because if you can see clearly, what do you have to fear? Think about, what do we fear? What might happen? What could happen to a person? Will lose their money, will lose their health, will lose their family and friends. Nobody says that's a guarantee. So you and I are learning, take away the energy of that fear and assemble the energy of trust, eternal prosperity, eternal health, eternal love, eternal peace. Why not? The light of the Creator is eternal. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. Think of this. If you've never thought of this or heard us say it in the center, if our body is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, everybody gets that? Yes? And proton, neutrons, and electrons are eternal. They do not fall apart. They can come apart into a proton, neutron, electron, but no proton dies, no electron dies, no neutron dies. So why does the physical body die? If it's made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, why does the body die? Why isn't it immortal? Never thought of that, did you? Why? Because like we're saying today, because we unfortunately have been trained by that challenger, we call the opponent, it's that nasty voice in our head that's not us, but it's a challenger. Last week we talked about quality assurance. Go back and listen to that again. But when you listen to that voice, oh, sadness, fear, anger, greed, jealousy, insecurity, judgment, negative use of those nanoparticles does what? Stops empowering protons, neutrons, and electrons of the body that make up all the physiological systems of the body to stay 100% vital. Like your cell phone. What happens if you unplug your cell phone from the electricity and you use it for too many hours? What happens to the battery power? Goes down, goes down, goes down till it runs out. So if a person's not empowering every cell of their body with the light of the Creator of immortal energy, then the body will disintegrate in various ways, in various levels. And what will that opponent in our head do? Of course, it comes with age. The older one gets, the more ailments they're going to have, because that's what it looks like we see. But if you go back and you study various civilizations or various societies, they got stronger as they got older. There was one I heard years back, just before I came even to the center, when I was first studying spirituality just in general. There was a tribe down, I believe it was in Mexico, one of these native tribes that people think are so primitive. They were messengers, meaning they would run the road and carry messages. So at 30 years old, they could run, let's say, they could run this one route, let's say in an hour. When they were 50, they could run it in, let's say, 50 minutes. When they were 80, they could run it in 40 minutes. They didn't get weaker, they got stronger. Yeah, I can already hear it. Nah, that must be a fable also. That can't be real, because look what's going on in the world today. No, why not? We are meant to be. If our proton, neutron, and electrons are immortal, why aren't we? Because we have free will. We have free will how to assemble or disassemble them. So we take the fear, we disassemble the energy of fear, we enhance it 1,000,000,000 times by the Zohar, the 72 names, etc., and we turn it into fearlessness. What about greed or lack? People are unwilling. Every religion I know of teaches tithing. You make $10,000, comes to your pocket, you're supposed to give away $1,000, 10%. It's just something that brings light to the world, not just to Macy's, or maybe I shouldn't say those stores, not to the stores, right? No, you give it away, in essence, to give back to the Creator for all the Creator gives you. But what happens? We get that thought, oh my God, if I gave 1,000 out of 10,000, I won't be able to buy this, that, or the other thing. I won't be able to do these things. No, the opposite. Every spiritual teaching on prosperity says the first rule is you must tithe. Look at nature. Imagine you got the best orange seeds in your hand, and you don't plant them, but you tell the universe, first give me the tree and give me the fruit on the tree, then I will plant the seed. Will it work? Got to plant the seed first, and then the tree grows. That's the universal law. You give your tithing, then it will grow. It will expand. Take Kabbalah 2, you'll hear all the reasons why. The details, why it's 10%, why isn't it 8, why isn't it 15? And you'll understand how it brings abundance and prosperity. But it's a rule. So a person who has that limitation, oh, I can't give, I'm not capable, I won't have enough, or just some people just greedy. It's mine, I went to work, I earned it, I worked for it, it's mine. They didn't stop and ask who gave them the power to be alive, who gave them the power to have the thoughts, ideas, to be able to use at work to make the money. Comes from the Creator. The tithing is just giving it back. So a person has that sense of lack. Okay, choser, a lack. Again, combination of those DNA, nanoparticles of the light of the Creator. So we want to disassemble that. We want to put into abundance. So those of you who have the Zohar, you know, Miketz, the section of Miketz for abundance and prosperity, connects us to the power of Joseph. If you read the story of Joseph, the son of Jacob, he controlled all the wealth of the world when he became second to Pharaoh. So we can connect to that abundance also. So you scan that, or you have Samech Aleph Lamed, or you have Yud Resh Taf from the 72 names. Partner with the Creator. You want to partner with the light? The light's giving us the ability to earn our money, so we want to pay the partner. But understand it's a partnership. It's not just me and it's not just the Creator. It's both of us together. Or how about resentment? Same thing. There's an energy force built of those nanoparticles. We want to turn it around. What about forgiveness, kindness, and compassion? Because if I put forgiveness out into the universe, I will be forgiven when I make mistakes. If a person puts resentment and anger and judgment out there, then they're going to be judged and they're going to be resented metaphorically by the universe. You can't have all your good. So we're learning how to transform, because if a person stays the same, so let's say, and I've heard it, people take Kabbalah 1. Something bad happens, triggers your anger, your jealousy, resentment, whatever. Pause. Don't react. Okay, great. Don't react. But some people, the next step is the part they forget. Don't react. We learn, shine light. Shine the light of forgiveness. Shine the light of generosity. Shine the light of compassion. Shine the light of gratitude. Shine light. Be happy for other people's good. No, people will say, no, I'm just going to pause. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to say bad things. But you and I also know from science, energy can never be destroyed, only transformed. So a person who just goes on pause, whatever was going on will stay the same. The same chaos, the same discord, the same unhappiness, the same stress, the same anxiety. Because only light will take away darkness. So if we don't add to the light we're shining in our world, then the darkness remains the same. So we're learning how to pause, awaken the strength, the power, the capability to inject light into every situation. And don't worry, because the other part is we start to worry, well, if I'm nice to that person, or if I forgive that nasty behavior, they're going to do it to me again. One of the biggest lies that nasty parasitic opponent in our head will tell us, because it's not true. Walk in your house at night, turn on the light, tell me, how does the darkness from the dining room? You walk in your living room, you turn on the light, now there's light in the living room. Have you ever seen the darkness from the dining room come in and enter into your living room now and make it dark? Anybody? Are you just not raising your hand? You're scared to admit it, or you've just never seen it? Right? Doesn't happen. The darkness doesn't come from other rooms into the living room. So how can the other person's negativity come into your life if you're shining a sphere of light all around you? The darkness can't enter. So if you're shining light, their resentment, their nastiness can't get into your life. But if you hold your resentment, you just created a beeline into your life with their negativity. And then you wonder why, when you walk away and you never see them again, you still have all that same chaos. Because there's a beeline. And it doesn't matter how far away they are, even they're on the other side of what we call death, life, there's still a beeline. Prove it to yourself. Think of a person who's no longer in the physical world that you have some kind of discord with. Still, how come it didn't die with them? Because it's not in them, it's in you. You made it show up in you, and it doesn't matter who they are, where they are, what happened to them, you kept it with you. What we're learning today is how to use God's nanotechnology to remove all of the negativity and all of the darkness and manifest what we all want. Peace on earth, heaven on earth. That's it. And don't forget, I had a student this week was telling me she'd been around a few years. She kind of gets the idea. She's seen some miracles, which already is an interesting thought, why we can see miracles and still have doubt. Read your Bible. Again, literal, there is truth to it, but the bigger picture is us. You and I were those Israelites who wandered 40 years in the desert. Don't say it was them because it was thousands of years ago. It's us today. Meaning what? We can have a cell phone. We can have computers. We can see all this amazing technology. What did they see? They saw Moses split the Red Sea. Whatever way you want to believe, the Red Sea split. How come 3 days later they say, hey Moses, there's no water to drink? What's the matter with you, killing us in the desert? I would think you just saw Moses do something never ever happened again. Split water. And don't think it was wind. I don't want to get into the detail, but it says, oh, the wind blew. Yes, so why does it say, and they walked on dry ground? If you make water split, like in the ocean, you go to the beach and the wave goes out, the ground is still muddy. It says, no, they split water and they walked on dry ground. So they saw that miracle. You think 3 days later, 3 days. Can you really forget in 3 days? You go to Moses, hey Moses, you know you did that trick with the water splitting it? You think you can make this water sweet so we could drink it? No, they complained. You want to kill us? What's the matter? Driving us to thirst? That's you and me. That's you and me. Let's be honest. One day somebody does an amazing thing for you. 3 weeks later, they do something you think is nasty. Right away, that's it. Ah, they're out of my life. Cut them out. Why? What happened to the good thing they did? Read Education of a Kabbalist. The Rav's story of his time with his teacher, Rav Brandwein, to become the master Kabbalist of our generation. He says one of the things he learned from his teacher, never forget the good a person does for you. Again, doesn't mean you have to hang out with those people all the time. But from your point of view, remember the good. So even if they did something nasty, you have more strength to say, no, I'm going to continue to send them light because they did good to me at that point when I needed it. When I needed it. Always remember the good, because you put that out in the universe, what will the universe do for you? When you're doing the nasty thing, the universe will remember the good that you've done also. It's cause and effect. What goes out comes back. Don't look for who and how and when. Just trust. It goes out in a circuit and it comes back to you at the right time in the right moment. So, sort of finishing up here. Science, if you think about it, and I know a few people recently, can take parts out of the body and replace it with other parts. Right? Like nanorobots. You take it out, you put a new one in. So if they can transplant from one thing to another, how much more powerful is the light channeled through us that can transplant love for hate, kindness for animosity, peace for chaos? It serves us to replace the light for all the negativity and all the darkness. Because as we will take out the darkness and we will replace it with light, then in our life we can be living more and more, revealing, taking away the clouds of darkness and reveal more, as we say, of the miracles that I don't tend to see. But if I brighten the light by replacing my hatred with love, or my jealousy with gratitude, or my greed with generosity, or my ego with humility, and the light is brighter and brighter, and those clouds of darkness go away, I will be able to see and live more of my Garden of Eden, more of my peace of heaven on earth. And as I do it, and you do it, and we get all the students around the world in the center to do it, at some point there's going to be a critical mass, it's called, of light, that the rest of the world will see this huge ball of light, let's call it, so brightly that they will also want to live in that ball of light. They will want to live in the Garden of Eden. They want to live heaven on earth because they'll see us as examples of that. Nothing bothering us, exuding peace, love, kindness everywhere. And when that happens, then we take away all the clouds of darkness and we will all live for eternal bliss, eternal life in this Garden of Eden. God bless. Okay. So now, okay, I put it here. As we do every week, this is the time, it's a free will offering. If you feel you've gotten some value from what you just heard and it's going to improve your life, please support us to spread this wisdom all over the world. It's not just about maintaining this building, which obviously there are costs to do that, but it's expanding this to everywhere. Many of you have come from friends who told you, or you heard, or somehow like that. We just want to speed up the process. So we have two major products or projects. One is the Zohar. So at least having one of these to carry in your purse, your pocket, backpacks, your car. Ideally to have a set or a sacred Zohar at home. Bless you. See, it's true. Right? And or the scholarship. We have, go online, go to Kabbalah.com and listen to the people whose lives have changed because there was somebody who was kind enough to donate to the scholarship fund that allowed them to take classes even though they couldn't afford it. So Spiritual Sunday is it's an entity of its own, if you will, but it's a channel, a conduit. So what you donate here today goes through the center to these various projects. So just open your heart and we're going to bless that offering because the more consciousness we put in it, the faster and the stronger it's going to come back to you. Those of you online, I've put it, the giving site on the chat here. So just hold, money as a vessel. So just hold it in your hands, those of you here with us in person. Just inject your light, your love, your blessing, and your gratitude. Just that next level of appreciation for all that the Creator, all the light has done for you. All of the blessings, even the ability to persevere through the challenges in your life, to come out better ahead through them. And remembering, raising our consciousness even more to truly feel from our heart and soul, the heart and soul of every person on earth, because there is only one soul. And therefore, love your neighbors yourself simply means to treat them the same way I treat myself, that I can feel their pain as if it's mine. So I will do everything I can to remove their pain. So we send this donation, this gift out through the center to reach to people all over the world, take away their clouds of darkness, alleviate their pain by awakening the energy of those nanorobots inside their heart and soul to bring light into their life. transcending all what they see with their five senses, to create harmony out of discord, unity out of divisiveness, and love out of hate. We send it out into the universe to manifest this good and bring us back many, many times over. And together we say, Amen. So I also want to do, as we do every week, we have a few more minutes, I want to do a meditation on one of the 72 names. And as we just explained in great detail, what you see in front of you, you can call them Hebrew letters, Aramaic letters, but they are nanoparticles of the light of the Creator, meaning they simply just shine the light, period. So you don't have to know even the names of them, although I will tell you. Right? From right to left, Mem Bet Hey. For those of you online, I have it here. Just look at the shapes. Remember the names Mem Bet Hey to turn thought into action. In other words, we all have that great intention. We want to be kinder and more compassionate and more loving and more generous and more humble and more happy and healthy, but we have to turn it into action. So when we do the actions of shining the light of peace, love, prosperity, health, that's what will awaken for us. So this is just empowering us. Mem Bet Hey, let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. And then if I can ask you, close your eyes, sit comfortably in your chair, hands on your lap. Just begin taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allowing yourself to relax into the embrace of this infinite light, the infinite light of the Creator, of pure, unconditional love and peace, clarity and strength. Allow yourself to relax into the chair, into your seat. Opening up your mind, opening your heart, and opening your soul. To allow more of this light to be drawn into you and therefore to manifest outwardly from you. And so we envision Mem Bet Hey, this combination of nanoparticles of the light of God. See it shining just above your head, radiating the power to follow your greatest thoughts, most godlike thoughts and intentions. Give you the strength and the power to take those actions, to manifest greater light in your life, in the world, removing darkness, discord, and chaos. And slowly allow this combination Mem Bet Hey to enter through the top of your head, illuminating the thoughts in your brain, in your mind, allowing you to more clearly distinguish between the thoughts of self-centeredness, reactivity, discord, and see clearly, hear clearly the thoughts of the light of your soul, of greater love and kindness, humility, generosity, compassion, forgiveness. So that your mind is pushing you, encouraging you, motivating you to take those actions. And allowing the Membet Hay to shine through all the rest of your body, your being, and center it in your heart and soul. That the light shining through these nanoparticles, Membet Hay, allow you to feel from the soul and see with what the Zohar says are the eyes of your heart, the reality that there is only one person on earth, one soul in this world. And therefore adding strength and greater love and care to the actions of unconditional love, the actions that shine light in place of darkness in every way, shape, or form towards every person and every part of this universe. And seeing in your mind's eye, as you're letting that light shine everywhere, let it show you the solution to some challenge you're facing now. Let it give you the inspiration, what to do, what to say, because you now see that challenge as an opportunity for you to remove darkness from your life, to remove chaos, anxiety, and stress by letting the light of your soul shine out and strengthening your abilities and that action that you do with the power of the Mem Bet Hay. And now see, as you're sending that light to those people in that situation, see the awakening in them of the light of their soul, the light of God inside them, and see it fill their heart and soul and their mind with thoughts, inspiration, and strength to also behave with greater kindness, forgiveness, tolerance. Let their light shine out into their world. And take a moment to be conscious of this wonderful warm feeling inside you, that greater sense of peace and harmony, serenity that you've just awakened. Recording it in your mind, letting it fill your heart and your soul. and commit yourself to follow through with more and more actions of love, kindness, godlike behaviors. And let's take one more deep breath, anchoring it into our heart, soul, and mind. And slowly exhale and open your eyes. So those of you here, those of you online, thank you for joining us. Thank you. I know many of you sharing these videos. To remind you, it's on Facebook. If you go to the Spiritual Sunday Facebook page, you can just share it out there into cyberspace. Let the people who are ready to hear this all over the world find it so that they can also be inspired to transform their lives and help us change the world. And as I often ask of you, send me your miracles, send me your transformations, even send me questions. And if you'd like to arrange a private one-on-one session, that is also possible. So you can messenger me in Facebook, or those of you here can just contact me here. Have a beautiful week. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you next week again. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.